There we go. Is that better? Now we should have some audio. That's better. All right, that looks better. I need to do some work on this little part of the screen. I've got too many audio channels for reasons. I need to. You don't hear you? Oh, does that mean the Skype is not? Yeah, let's see. But you guys should be coming in through. All right, I need you guys to say something. All right, try it again. Ooh, okay, that's. Now I'm not getting Skype. Let's see. Yes. It is very confusing, but the issue here is that Skype is not coming in correctly. I wonder what happened. Oh, I know. All right, I know what happened. Let's keep this going. Oh, I'm hearing myself, but it's through you guys. All right, that makes more sense. Good. I was getting worried about that too. The software updated, so I have to. I think this one. Let's see. Skype. Where do I put the Skype? That's right. Where are the apps? Oh, I think it's this button. No, this one. There we go. Where is Skype? All right, output device, voice chat. That's good. Oh, look, there's 2 Skypes. No, they're both going to the right place. There's 3 Skypes, but they all say they're going to the right place. Voice chat. That's that. That's that. All right. You guys got to talk a little bit more so I can see some levels. Nothing? Yeah, all right. Double sound. You could probably mute the stream because I can see when you guys have audio. Let's see. Yeah, that works, right? Yeah. All right. Oh, wait. Audio video settings. Mic gain is that. That's what I want. My audio is that. Let's try this instead. Voice. All right, let's see if that worked. Can you guys say some things? Oh, now I can't hear you though. That won't work. Will it? But it should. I should have something coming through. Are you guys saying anything? Yes, maybe? No? Oh. All right. There we go. Okay. I can hear that again. Don't have you there. Let's see if I can get it over here. All right, let's see. Can you guys, how are you guys doing? All right, we're gonna do, my microphone is being challenging right now. Let's see. I think I have it working. No, but I think I do. 'Cause you guys aren't saying enough for me to know for sure. There we go. I responded to your question. Okay, let's go here. Skype audio. Yeah, no. All right, there we go. You're hearing me twice. Normally. Right, but you're still not. It should have the Skype audio. I can see the levels moving when you guys speak. So it's. Hey, let's see. Do we have anybody else hanging out in the stream? Still just the 3 here. All right. Hey, Martin, can you you can hear me. Can you hear Bob and Sean at all? All right. What's that? I missed what Sean was saying. Why is this a problem? All right. I'm gonna remove it, put it back in. Let's see if this brings it back in. All right. Where is Skype? Why is it not being found? Why are there 3 Skypes here? I have 3 Skypes in this screen that there should only be. I don't know why there's 3. Voice chat, voice chat, voice chat. That's Slack. That's not the one. Yeah. So, and this one's gray. I don't know why. Wow, how weird. Nope, can't hear Sean or Bob. Huh. Interesting. Yet I have them here. Ron, do you hear the music then rolling? Wait, is that coming through? You can hear that in the stream. Okay, so you can hear me, you can hear the stream. It's just Skype not being come in. All right, I'm going to shut down Skype, try to reconnect it back to everything and see if that just fixes it. Don't know. All right, good. So it's gone. This is a new problem. Haven't had this one in the past. Skype. Voice chat. That one's fine. In the stream, everything. That's good. We'll see what we have here. No. I need to be able to hear this. Okay, so I can hear that. And then this is my mic. Hopefully that's making sound. Yeah, okay. Join the call. Join the call. All right, I can hear that now.
Your audio stream. Can you hear me?
I don't know. Can we hear?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear both of you. Are they coming out? But you're not. You're still not on the stream.
We
Are
didn't
you?
hear you for a while.
I think we're on the stream.
I
Oh,
can
Yeah,
hear
we're on
you
the
now.
stream now.
Okay, great. All right, so you guys need to say some things now. See if you're still in the stream. Okay, I'm trying to figure out if we're good, which way we are good here. That's all. Yeah. So can you guys unmute yourself real quick and see if you can hear yourself correctly? Yes. Again. All right. Yeah, it's not working now, is it? Yeah. Okay. That's what. See, that's what I was checking. Okay.
Okay.
There. Let's see. Is this better?
Let's find out. Do I
Yes.
hear
Maybe.
myself? I hear myself.
Yeah,
You
I
do.
hear myself.
All right, excellent. We're gonna go with this then, and I'll have to experiment a little bit. Something has definitely gone awry in all of this. So this is why you don't update software, right, Sean? Things don't work when you
Especially
get done.
right before a stream.
No. I didn't do this before the stream. I did it like it took the update 3 days ago or something like that. But I didn't think. And I tested it for my stream and it all worked. I didn't think that it would break the Skype connection.
Right.
So it's, you gotta think through, well, I didn't test the whole scenario. It's like, no, you didn't. All right. We're 8 after. We have a Ron, we have a Jacob. That's fantastic. Let's go ahead and get ourselves to the right place here. Woohoo, look at all those comments saying, yes, no, yes. People are gonna be so confused with what's going on. All right. I think we're finally ready. Yes?
I think so.
All right. Let's do this. I don't think I have anything else I have to put in place. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the WiX Online Meeting 236 at the end of May. Gosh, kids are almost out of school. Maybe yours are already out of school. I hope everyone's doing well. We are moving on to, what we always been doing these days lately. That's triage. If you're here, go ahead and say hi. We had some technical difficulties getting the sound hooked up, so Ron and Jacob have been helping us get those sorted out. And Ron's asked if we can discuss use of VMs. Sure, we can add that to the end. Start typing or getting your messages all ready to queue up into there. And after we get triage, we will cover that topic, Ron. As always, these meetings are recorded for those of you that aren't with us right here, right now, and are watching in the future, which is great to have you in the future with us. And we're actually going to have some questions and comments because Ron's going to start putting all that together. In the meantime, I think it's time for us to do triage. Right? Ready? Bob?
It's triage o'clock.
Triage o'clock. I almost like that. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. I guess that's what that number says. So, MSI version rule should be compiled at compile time. It's already known whether an attribute should be an MSI version or a WiX version. Stricter rules for MSI version should be applied at compile time. That prevents bad experience. WiX actually spends time generating MSI at the end, especially when the version came from a WiX lib that was compiled separately from the current project. Okay. Except then the problem is that our packages would be strict. The MSI versions are too strict for us to use as the generic package version. And if we put the compile time, that cuts off the ability to do all of the future package things that we could do now that we have these versions open. So I think this one, while true, we could check it. While true, building all this stuff and checking the binder does take more time. It is the place to check it because that's where the most strictness can kick in.
And the backend, it doesn't take long to get from the compiler is practically instantaneous. I mean, every time we've measured it, it's like it doesn't matter what happens in the compiler. It just takes zero time, essentially. Linking takes longer, but again, we're not dealing with files until very late in the back end. So,
yeah,
in general, I'm in favor of getting error messages as soon as possible, but in terms of clock time, checking them in the front of the back end, early in the back end, isn't going to cause any real problems, any real delays.
Yeah. All right.
So, can you explain that use case a little more, where you're building an MSI, but you're
not building an MSI.
MSI?
Yeah, we're not building an MSI. We'll be building something else, like a NuGet package.
With a custom backend.
Yeah.
But with the MSI elements?
With the package element, not the MSI elements, the package element.
That's MSI. Oh, that's
Today.
weird.
Well, NuGet packages are called packages too, so package.
That's going to get confusing.
Yeah, we'll get through it. It's an advanced scenario that we've unlocked in V4 that will come along later. And if we do this, then we relock it, whatever. We undo the unlocking, especially for something that is just a small time win. So we don't want to lock the WiX toolset to MSI in the compiler. We should lock to MSI. When you get to the back end, that's where all the deep MSI-isms will hit. And there's probably many more for us to work on, and we'll do that. But the version will be kill us right at the top. All right, allow MSI version of 1.2.3.abc or 1.2.3. Very large number. I'm for this, I think. I thought you guys were against this, so
I'm against it.
All right, I kind of was like, yeah, this would be cool if we could allow it. It'll only work for minor upgrades if Burn does it, or if you do the math you're outside, Burn could, and if you do allow same version major upgrades, this could work, although it wouldn't actually get the numbers valuing those sort of things. But I like the idea of it. I thought you guys were both against it, so I dropped it.
I
I'm
think there's a
completely
separate.
opposed.
I think like documenting and wanting people to use it as a semantic version is different than just letting people put what the Windows installer will allow.
I'm for this. I mean, I am slightly for this. It's, as Bob has pointed out, it's pretty esoteric and hard to use well.
One word for it.
Yeah, but I like the idea. I still like the idea of it.
If it should not go without some diagnostic. If you guys really want this, then it can be a warning. But I don't want to. So yeah, fine. If you guys want it to be possible, that's fine. But it should absolutely be a warning. You're out of spec.
Oh, I think that's fair with the Windows installer. We could warn on it. I don't probably wouldn't have a problem with that. I think we already. Yeah, fine. We could make sure that the warning for this worked correctly, or said the right thing. The change, I think, the bigger change to allow this is to allow that dot separator at that third part there. That's not currently allowed in the processing of the WiX versions anywhere.
Yeah, that's the part that I was firmly against.
But that's the part that has to work too. Otherwise, Burn won't be able to understand these things.
That's kind of true. Kind of not. I mean, the point is that the fourth part of the version should be ignored anyway. So it's kind of weird that Burn is looking at the fourth part. But also, like, if both versions are the same, like if both versions have letters in the fourth part, then I'll just do a string comparison on that fourth part and everything will work okay.
I totally agree. The thing is that I'm pretty sure from the testing we did, it has to be a dot.
Okay, but this was where I was not understanding your insistence on Simver. Like, I think it's much more correct to just add a .0 and then a dash than to change the spec to allow a dot as a dash between the third and fourth part.
This is where MSI versioning and Semver versioning are incompatible.
Yeah, so I'm right. It would semantic versioning doesn't really matter in this case. Like it doesn't play because we're talking about MSI version. And what I remember was that it couldn't be strict semantic versioning because MSI wouldn't respect that dash. So it had to be a dot. The third part had to be a dot. So if we made that allowable in a WiX version, then we could represent these concepts, this concept in MSI. If WiX
So
version
I understand
allowed
what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I understand it. But I don't understand why you want to change the spec when you can easily just add a .0 and not have to change the spec.
but that wouldn't get this scenario.
Sure it would.
Okay. How would you get 1.2.3.abc? That's not a valid WiX version, is it?
It's not a valid WiX version, but Windows installer doesn't care. So why should WiX stop you from?
So WiX version is the superset of versions that we support.
So, like 1.2.3.abc should absolutely be a warning. And I'm fine with 1.2.3.0-abc also being a warning.
Okay, but then we need.
I thought MSI wouldn't support the dash.
It
Yeah, it
supports
won't.
the dash if there's 4 parts.
After you get to the fourth part, it just kind of ignores everything after that.
including dashes.
including dashes and letters and
okay.
all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
The important part is the dot at the third dot. That's important.
Right.
So if we add that to the supported spec of things or versions that we support, then we can unlock these scenarios, and they'll work correctly when there's an MSI. And if that MSI gets included in a bundle, it'll work correctly, and everything will just roll out from there. But if we don't support it in the WiX version, the dot in the WiX version, then things are going to get tripped up after that. WiX version is like the superset, has to be the superset of the versions that we support, and then we can restrict it after that for installation technologies that don't support them.
Okay, I don't want to support 1.2.3.abc. I only want to support 1.2.3.0-abc.
Okay. So you could put that in MSI, and they could author that.
Today, 1.2.3.0-abc will not compile.
Okay.
Because it's not a valid WiX version.
It is a valid WiX version. It's not a valid 4-part version.
Sure. So that's different. All right. So if we put a .0 in here and a -abc, then we could say A, B. We could allow MSIs to be created that way. But to do this, we have to update the WiX version spec. This as written right here, right?
You would have to change the verification to not rely on the WiX version parsing.
And then insert a .0 for the user behind the scenes. They would author
So-
1.2.3.abc, and then behind the scenes, the version that ended up beside the MSI would actually be 1.2.3.0.abc.
No. So for this issue, I was specifically asking for the WiX verification code in the WiX exe to ignore everything after the third dot.
Okay.
For MSI product version.
Okay.
MSI product version.
So if we do that, and then we put it in a bundle, what does the bundle get?
Bundle will parse 1.2.3.abc as an invalid version at
Yes.
major 1, minor 2, patch 3.
Yeah, but invalid.
Metadata ABC.
Yeah, but invalid.
But then if all their versions are like that, then it'll compare just normally. The only problem is
Either we should support this or not. Like, we shouldn't have it falling through to an error case in Burn saying that it turns out that we can allow this inside the MSI, but it's not really valid from Burn's point of view, or Burn's not going to see it as a valid version, and logic is then going to hopefully sort out. Either we accept this format or we don't. Right now we don't. You have to do, like you said, at least 1.2.3.0 -abc. You can't start with a dot for the third part, for the metadata part, or whatever, labels and such.
So this is not what I'm asking for. So there's kind of two separate issues we could have here. There's the issue that I created where we ignore everything after the third dot, which it sounds like we're declining. The second issue is allow any valid WiX version as an MSI product version.
Sure, and the second one doesn't satisfy this issue.
Right, because neither of these are a valid WiX version.
Correct. The way I see to do this is to allow this to be a valid WiX version, and then we can make it work all the way through the whole system, and it'll just work.
I mean, I guess that's fine. It's kind of weird that people can use other tools to build something like that, but if WiX wants to be more strict, then...
Other tools to build something like that.
You mean they can use other tools to build invalid product versions?
I mean, the documentation says a product version has 3 parts and everything in the 4th part is ignored. So,
Right. But this is why I brought up the idea that allowing dot and everything else after it should be a valid Wix version because it would represent the MSI semantics. And you guys are like, that's too esoteric. We shouldn't do it. And I was like, yeah, okay, fine. It's esoteric and it's not important for the product version. So I let it go. I was like, yeah, okay. This is saying we should bring it back. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm kind of in favor of that.
I'm still surprised you're just...
I don't want us to put a version inside an MSI that Burn's not going to buy, that we know out of the gate's not going to understand.
I don't understand how you're not keeping my distinctions separate. Like,
I don't know what you're talking. I don't know your distinctions.
So
I'm flummoxed at both of you right now.
So one way to verify the MSI product version would be look for 3 dots and then just completely ignore what's after the 3rd dot.
That's correct. We could do that.
Which it sounds like we're not doing.
No,
so
because Burn is an important part of our chain, and we supporting that and not having Burn support it is not a great Wix toolset story.
So the other thing is just allow any valid Wix version.
Correct.
Now that includes semantic versioning that MSI will not accept.
Right. Now 1.2.3.abc has never been supported by Wix as a valid MSI product version.
That's true.
As it ought to be.
So I don't understand why we want to change the spec to start allowing that as a valid Wix version.
That's what this issue says.
No. This issue is nothing about a Wix version.
So the part that I have added through this is that if an MSI has this version and we build these things, we build these MSIs, we should support them in Burn because it's the whole Wix tool set. MSIs flow into bundles. Bundles, if we're gonna support these versions in Wix, bundles should support those versions in Wix. I think that's the part that I've probably added on top. It's like just saying, hey, you could build MSI with this version, but Burn's not going to support it. I don't think we should do that. It's not out of the Wix tool set.
Okay, so let's close this one, and then we can talk about, I can create a new one about allowing any valid Wix version in MSI product version.
Correct. More than the restriction that the product version has on it today. Right. We could talk about that.
And then there, I would not want to allow 1.2.3.abc as a valid Wix version.
Sure. It could open the issue that way. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I thought you guys actually agreed that we should try that and it would be interesting. But all right.
Why the hell did you think I would want this?
Not you. Sean opened it, so I was like, wait, did he maybe he hit something or saw something that says, yeah, you know, that whole thing that we talked on that stream that one day, hey, we should do that. And I was like, yeah, sure, we could do that. I'm plus 0.05 and Bob's like negative 100 or something like that. So
somewhere close to that.
Yes. And then I thought Sean came over and said, yeah, let's do a plus something. I was like, well then, anyway, but it's not, that's fine. All right. So today the embedded messages from Burn do some amount of stuff, and we've not invested deeply in Burn, and I think Bob has said he wants more.
Oh, we're going on. Yeah, so basically, send embedded progress is, well, send embedded error and send embedded progress are both sending less data than they could. At the very least, they could include the package. Right now, you get progress messages, and they're, they're 5%, 10%. Well, sorry, they come in two. One is overall progress, which is 50%, and then there's per item progress. And the per item progress includes both acquisition and execution. And there's no additional context in send embedded progress for the bundle runner to determine what these numbers mean. And there's no contract that I'm aware of that you could even deduce, like, oh, right, we had 6 packages, and therefore when it resets, it's the next package. Well, no, you can't count on that, because it turns out there's no progress whatsoever sent for send embedded progress anyway, if there's no acquisition for the package or no operation. It's just skipped. So there's just no way to do any math that gives you an interesting progress bar. Overall progress is fairly useful, except of course if there's no acquisition, it's immediately 50%, which it turns out is not accurate, but it's what we got. And all the, like, in WiX 3 we had the, what was it, phase count as a new interface method, and none of that is exposed via send embedded progress. Send embedded error at least gives you all the error information, but again, it doesn't tell you what package it's on. So, yeah, not great.
So for what it's worth, I didn't explicitly add embedded progress, but in V4 there is extra progress during acquisition. So
okay,
there might be more messages in V4.
which isn't great, because it's different behavior. And again, well, it's already, like I said, we can't deduce anything from the progress. At best, you have whatever the overall progress is, and that's fine. It's just not great.
And the other thing is, this is going to break the protocol.
Yeah.
So is this
so
worth doing that?
Definitely not in V4. Definitely not in V4, because at the moment, I don't know how a bundle runner could differentiate between protocol changes.
Yeah, it can't.
Well, I mean, I think the best case scenario is that it has to look at the bundle and look at the PE headers and find out from that, which is doable.
This was a problem that I was running into with harvesting bundles for bundle packages.
Yep.
So yeah, there's no definitive way to do it. If the engine version had been somewhere in the, in the burn PE header or in the manifest, then it could have been possible. But unfortunately, it's only embedded in the code.
Right. Yep.
Well, maybe we should add the version in 4, so the absence of it is 3, the presence of it is in 4, and then we can start moving forward. I mean, maybe we can save ourselves by not having, or I guess whenever we need it.
So I added the engine version into the manifest already. I was waiting for us to break the protocol before we, and then the protocol itself can be enhanced to tell whoever's running it which version it is. And also the burn header probably should include the protocol version. But all of that stuff is breaking, makes it to where the old stuff is not going to interoperate with the new stuff.
Right.
But we do have to make that breaking change eventually.
Yeah, I agree with you that the protocol should be doing it, but right now that would be a breaking change. I don't think it'd be breaking if we added the engine version or protocol version into the header. We have plenty of bytes to spare in that page.
No, we don't.
You don't?
No, because there was a count of an attached containers,
Mm-hmm.
and that basically meant that every single byte at the end was telling you how about more and more attached containers.
Offsets to the attached containers.
Right. Yeah. So there was like a count of attached containers, and then at the end, there was basically an array of offsets.
Right. Well, let's see. A page is 512 bytes. We could not let you have 128 attached containers and have 4 bytes at the end for attributes. I don't know. Okay.
I mean, I'm for doing this. I'm just pointing out that that means V4 bundles won't be able to get progress from V3 bundles.
Right. No. Well, and again, the embedded stuff is also for external bundle runners. That's the scenario I was working with, and again, right now they support V3 bundles. They'll support V4 bundles with no change because the protocol didn't change. When the protocol changes, we need a way for a bundle runner to identify the version, or we need the protocol to be backward compatible. I'm not a huge fan of that, but
I don't think the current protocol can be changed in a backward compatible way.
I accept that as a possibility. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of it has to turn into, hey, there's the presence of this thing. So if you get a message before the first progress message, it's like, hey, here's our version. And you're like, oh, I didn't. And then, hey, here's our progress message. Then the cases where you don't get a, here's your version before you get a progress message, you're like, oh, that's burn v3. That's the way out of these, usually.
Yeah, I think the sample bundle runner will ignore messages it doesn't understand.
Okay.
So that's probably reasonable to add a message that communicates the protocol version. And if someone, responds to a message they don't understand with an error, well, then that was not a great choice.
Yeah, well,
Probably the best we're going to do.
yeah, I definitely need to sit down and think about this. You said not V4.
Yeah.
Do we need to up the priority of it to make it better? I mean, if V4 is the same as or backwards compatible with V3, then we're just moving this issue down one more version until we actually try to tackle these things. So it's not like we're making it worse. It'll just be V3 and V4, which respond the same, are all the same.
Yeah. No, I don't want to add the like package ID. I don't want to add the functionality in V4. I was hoping that we had a quick and easy way to identify a bundle as being a V4 bundle, but it sounds like that's not feasible either. So then, therefore, the protocol has to change, hopefully in a way that a bundle runner can adapt to, even if it just means that a WiX v5 bundle will still work from a bundle runner. It just won't have progress. Worst case, it doesn't have progress. Better case would be it has the progress it has today and misses out on any improvements that we make.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, I'm fine if this stays the same in V4 and we look at the protocol in V5.
Be next.
I think there's some wiggle room. Yeah.
Okay. John, disagree? Agree?
Yeah, I don't think I'd be spending time on it.
Yeah, I
So.
think it's
Yeah, no. Well,
it's
also why
late.
I didn't want to
Yep.
put it in V4.
Yep.
It's just, it would be excellent to have.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the this is the first time I was doing a bundle runner, so I'm like, oh well, okay.
Do more in V5.
Yep.
All right. I'm still going this way. Wix toolset, Visual Studio not getting installed with Visual Studio Community Edition. All right, so this is ongoing, maybe. Someone found that the quick thing, the Wix toolset signature signing certificate was updated middle of April, something like that. With not a lot of work, that all kind of just worked out. So that was nice. But that does mean that things that were signed with the previous certificate of a month and a half ago, are now have an invalid certificate or signed with an invalid certificate, out of an expired certificate. But they were signed within the timestamp that says, hey, I was signed this time, so they should be valid. And if you look at all our binaries, they look all fine. They're still reporting correctly. Certificate expired, but signed with a time, therefore it's fine. V6, of course, has their own way of doing everything around all the signing stuff. And I was able to go back and get the now expired certificate for the votive and install it, and it worked for me. But we're seeing this person has reported that it didn't work for them, and in there they had a message that the extension is signed with an invalid timestamp. And I noticed that in their log file, their date format in the log file is different from my date format in my log file. So in the end, there's something about installing V6s with expired certificates but time-stamped properly that seems to be not working in at least one case. And then someone else popped up and said they're seeing the exact same thing, but then what they're describing doesn't sound exactly like the same thing. So I don't know. Also asked this guy to try the new votive, which has not been published yet, but is available on the GitHub, to see if that worked for them, which of course it was, I think, signed with the new certificate. I don't know, I think about it, maybe it was. I'm pretty sure it was signed with the new certificate. I'm pretty sure it was. I hope it was, because I just asked him to go try it with the new certificate, and hopefully that works. And if it does, then we kick this over to the Visual Studio guys going, all right, here we've tried to capture this logic as much as we could. There's something wrong with your V6 installer when the certificate is expired, but the timestamp is correct for some people. Good luck. And I was just, so hopefully from all this, it goes away. I say all this because I'd like to keep this issue around for another round, keep this issue open for another round, and then revisit it again in 2 weeks. See if we got some progress on it. Cool?
Cool.
Not by me.
Things I do while futzing with the Wix 3 build process and trying to get it to work properly with all the updates from the, oh gosh, just, anyway, that's done too, by the way. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's 4. So, Ron, I hope you're ready. We're coming back to discussions and questions and comments and things that people want to talk about. Normally at this space, I'm trying to fill time to make sure that if there are any questions, people have a chance to type them. Hopefully Ron has pre-typed it and he's pasting it into the chat. Although there's been mention that the chat is has a limit of, what was it, 200 kilobytes?
200 characters.
Oh, just 200 characters. Okay, 200 characters. So you have to cut and paste 200 characters. I haven't tried installing the V4 or V6. There's no V4 or V6. This is votive. This is votive V6s. So anyway, Ron, if you want to talk VMs, I'm curious what you want to talk about VMs. Do you,
It was
Sean?
about the end-to-end testing.
Oh, end-to-end testing and how to get end-to-end testing. All right, great. He's starting to send his messages along. I guess we'll wait a second there. Let's see. Otherwise, while he's getting all that prepped, I guess we can do the usual looking forward. 2 weeks is June 9th. I think that works out, should be fine. We can start getting into off holidays and things like that. So, but June 9th, I think, is normal. So we'll be back in 2 weeks at the same time, doing the same thing, doing triage. We're not ending the meeting right now. I'm just getting everybody prepped to think about 2 weeks from now, while Ron fills in his multiple messages to follow. Yeah, so 2 weeks, all that good stuff. Anything else we should go? Please discuss the general setup for using VMs when testing WiX. There is no general setup for using VMs when testing WiX.
You create your own VM.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a README in the test folder that explains what to do.
yeah, but
I've always just been happy to rely on the CI build.
yeah, I'm not thrilled that we have to rely on CI builds because it takes a whole lot of up and down and back, and you have to wait the whole build.
True.
But there's not a lot in the take this test directory, all these things, lift them up, throw them into your what do you call it, VM, and then run them. Is the installation of the VM outside the scope of source code installation build procedure? Yes. I mean, it is today. There's no installation of a VM today. I mean, it should just be pick the OS you want to test against and then run.
There are two. So I'll say how I use them. One, I rely on the CI build, right? So the CI build is just running as part of the big build on, the VMs provided by GitHub and AppVeyor. That's all automatic. You have your test code that run, that installs the VM, installs packages and tests certain conditions. And those packages, it's a little confusing, but mostly good. The build, like on your own dev box, builds those packages but doesn't run the tests, which is good because where do you want to, you don't want to run potentially bad packages and mess up your shiny new dev box.
And we want to catch if any changes in the tools broke the build of the test at least, because we can do that.
Correct. And that goes to my next step. Thank you, Rob. Good segue for you can build these packages and bundles as part of the normal build and then go test them yourself on a VM manually. That's really only good if you have a test that is better run manually. What we're missing at the moment is there's no easy way to take the tests from your dev box and run the tests and the packages on a local VM. That would be a nice thing.
Automatically.
Yeah, it's somehow automatically.
Yeah, a zip file and a batch file, right, with everything in it, and then you pick them up and drop them on the batch file. So,
well, yeah,
I picked them up. I picked them up in the VM. Why can I not say VM today? It's so weird. I keep saying all the other words around them. It would be nice if our build just said, "Here's everything you need. You pick this up and you put it on a VM, and then you double click this, and it runs all the tests." We definitely have not reached that level of automation of that process today.
But all the tests are written in C# with XUnit, right?
Correct.
So we'd have to be able to bootstrap, .NET Core, .NET whatever version we're using, and XUnit and whatever else, whatever other dependencies are required, and then ship all of the tests and the packages and bundles and whatnot, test collateral over to the VM.
Yeah, we probably would have to have .NET and XUnit on the VM.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kind of go through and see if we've answered some.
All you need is the SDK, by the way.
Yeah, sorry, the .NET SDK. XUnit's in the SDK. You do a restore then to bring the rest of it down. Sure.
No, well, I mean, you're using .NET Test is the test runner.
But doesn't.
So
Is XUnit included in it?
No,
I
but
mean,
the build
XUnit is
includes
one of the
XUnit.
DLLs that's there.
It is included in the SDK?
It's
Oh.
included in your build output.
No, yeah, it's the
Oh, it's in our
XUnit.
build output. Right, of
Yeah.
course. Duh. Right. I was like, wait, XUnit's in the SDK? That's cool. No. All right. That makes much more sense. It's in our build output because we depend on it. All right. So let's go back to questions. Let's see if we answered them. General setup for VMs when testing Wix. We don't have a general purpose, general thing. What Bob described would be a cool thing to go and sort all those bits and pieces out. Which VM products are used? No VM products are used, and I don't think we have to care which VM products are used. It should be you can
Nope.
use VirtualBox, Hypervisor, VMware, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just get a Windows machine running. That's what you would have to do, and probably, as we just said, put .NET SDK on it. We'll probably will need that as well. Is the installation of the VM outside the scope of the source code installation build procedure? I think so. I also don't think our requirements on a VM are very high that we need a whole lot there. It really is just a VM with Windows and then the .NET SDK. So there's that.
Which is why the CI build is guaranteed to have those things. And
Right.
but again, the difference is a local build, you don't want to mess up your machine. For the CI builds, we don't care. They're
Right.
using VMs and they'll go away after the build's done.
So are the VM hosted tests sequenced, individually started, manually run under VS? So the way the VM, there is no VM hosted tests. We have the the CI system GitHub that we're using. That is every GitHub action or build starts up a VM, throws all your stuff in it, and then runs it, and they shut it down. That's the infrastructure that GitHub provides you. It's fantastic. It's great. What we do is, I think, is it setting an environment variable? I forget. Is it just a command line switch, Sean? I don't.
Yeah, environment variable.
You set an environment variable, and as part of the build, it runs through everything. And if this environment variable is set, it will then also run the test, what we call integration tests at the end of the build. And you could set that environment variable on your dev machine, and the Wix toolset will then run all of our tests on your dev machine. And you will end up with, hopefully, a clean machine at the end. They try to clean up. But if not, you could end up with a real mess of stuff installed on your machine. When we run it in the CI system, it's not a problem because GitHub's like, hey, you're done? Great. Throws that VM away and gets a new one, or however they do that. So there are no VM hosted tests. We just run the tests as part of the build when this environment variable is set. If the tests are built by the standard build procedure, yes. So the tests are built by the tests layer, and all of the stuff in there builds all of the integration tests. Of course, we build unit tests in all the individual layers and run those. Those are designed not to be impactful on your machine, where the test folder is much more integrated and may have, and in the case of burn test, does have significant impact on your machine. Where are they stored? The tests get built to the test folder in the build output, and that's where they get built every time you do a build. You'll get them. How are they advertised? I don't know. They're not advertised. It's just a folder of files that then .NET test using the XUnit runner runs them. So you just .NET test it. And if you look in the test layer, you'll see batch files that in the end call .NET commands, msbuild, and then .NET commands to run the tests. How is elevation achieved? Well, so that's an interesting question. So elevation is turned off on the CI machine. So GitHub, when they give you the machine, they've turned off elevation. So there are never elevation problems. You're an admin, you can do whatever you want to the machine, you can do anything to the machine, you can do everything to the machine, and there will not be a single elevation prompt. And we take advantage of that so that it just runs. And if you had a test VM, you probably would want to do the same because you will get lots of elevation prompts if you don't run the tests elevated. So
They will refuse to run if they're not elevated.
all right, even better. So you end up with, it will not happen. So how's elevation achieved? As you would expect, it's required. You have to disable it or run it elevated. Can you run from elevated prompt to have everything work out? I haven't tried directly. How are the installations MSIs integrated into the tests themselves? The MSIs that are integrated in the tests are built as part of the test. So that's the nice thing about these tests. Like when I'm working on the core Wix toolset, I appreciate these integration tests because they build things and add more that in the WiX side that build things. So they end to end use the entire experience to build the MSIs, the bundles, everything that's needed to then install and do work. They can include the extensions, which include custom actions, which end up inside the MSIs and do work. So all of that happens. My immediate concern is written in C++ and XUnit. I don't think any of the integration tests are written in C++, right, Sean? I can't think of any that are. They're all managed.
No, the only C++ tests we have are the dutil and the burn
Yeah,
unit
so
tests.
for the unit tests that want to link against the libs and test them directly. But those are unit tests. Those are intended to not modify the machine, not need elevation, run quickly, ideally, and do small things, targeted things with the individual libraries. Unit tests, the definition of unit tests.
So for the installation of MSIs integrated in the tests are running MSI exec whenever they want to install or uninstall an MSI.
Yeah. Or bundles, which then installs them, or install a bundle, uninstall an MSI manually, install another bundle. I mean, they do all kinds of patches. I mean, yeah, there's a lot.
He's
to all those.
focusing on the util user code, right? That's what he's trying to write.
The util user code.
Like creating a user, setting the description or whatever.
So
Or
there.
util extension.
Gotcha. So there you'd want to go write a test. Got it. So there you'd want, if you want to test that the user actually gets installed, yeah, you'd go into the integration tests somewhere, have an MSI. There's, like Sean mentioned, there's infrastructure in place that will help you install MSIs, things like that. So you can, but it's all in managed code. And you you write the user code in the extension. When you get to the test layer, it can use that extension and the rest of the MSI to build an MSI that installs a user of your choice, your test user. So that MSI can get built, it can get installed, then you can have the code query the machine to see that the user is in the state that you expect them to be. You could then uninstall the MSI and see that the user is in the state. You can do upgrades. I mean, you can do whatever, as complicated as you want with the number of MSIs. All of that could be run as part of the in the test layer, and so on and so forth. Now, I did recently need to test. It was when we were updating the versions in the dependency code, which was a change to custom actions, which have deep interaction with burn. And so I used the integration tests to validate that. And when one of them failed, I chose to build the test, investigate, or look at what it did, and then I actually kind of YOLO'd it and ran that bundle on my machine directly with elevation prompts and things like that. So I essentially ran by hand what the test would have done automatically. I ran by hand to validate and work through the issues and debug it, things like that on my machine. I could have spun up a VM and done it in there. I actually tried to use Windows Sandbox, but that didn't work out. So I just decided, for this one test, for this one bundle with this set of MSIs, I trust that I can uninstall these MSIs, so I ran it on my local machine. But that was just for my one little part. Once I got it working, checked it in, and then let it run as part of the automated system again, and it all worked out. So that, for that case with one issue and all the suite of issues, I was able to, I chose to run it locally on my machine, which is another choice. But if you want to run them all, you'd want to put them in a VM.
I guess.
I'd say for the util extension user tests, I probably would not want to run those on a machine I care about, just because you are messing with, you're messing with more important bit. It's like, I run bundles, even elevated per machine bundles all the time, because I know that the MSIs are, install a text file. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. That's a judgment call, right? You can run all of them on your local machine. We do not recommend doing that, but set the environment variable and you'll get them. And I don't know what you'll end up with at the end.
Sean, you ported the util extension user tests, right? That's what
Yeah.
your
Can you open that in GitHub
Uh,
and stream it?
which one?
Like Wix for source test MSI.
Yep.
I mean, I
Oh.
meant just like browse the code on GitHub.
Sorry, which one did you want? You said Wix for source test.
MSI.
Yep. Let's see, getting there.
And then there's only user tests here.
This change. So what do you want to look at?
I mean, I guess this is where you would start, and then there's a README that says how to run them. And then
Oh,
inside
this MSI folder is newish. Yeah, right. Because I created the Wix one, not the MSI one. Right. Yep. So MSI, and then walk through all of this. Yeah.
in that in
Yeah.
that.
See, there it
Wix-
is. Build what needs to be built. Test the thing that just got built. That's kind of the pattern. So the build will happen on your machine. The test will probably be skipped. Yeah, this. See, if runtime tests are not enabled, then you skip the test part. So it builds, validates that all the build stuff works, but it does not attempt to modify your machine, which will use this here. I haven't looked at this enough. Product A, product, yeah. That creates a group or finds a group and adds a user to it, to that group. Yep.
Take a look at the test code, though. It's
Oh yeah, you're right.
actually kind of cool that there's already code in there to.
Did I just click the same thing? Util user test
Up one.
product A. What am I? Oh, thank you. I didn't go high
Nope.
enough. There we go.
Nope.
Yeah, I got it this time.
Up one. There we go. Oh, sorry. I'm delayed.
Yeah, you're delayed. It's okay. Which one? Is this the one? Probably.
Yep.
Yeah, there's product A. Create, install a package. So this underneath calls Wix and builds that folder for you and all that kind of stuff. And then this will call MSI and do the work for you.
That doesn't build anything. All it does is creates a class that references that MSI, and then at the end of the test,
Wait.
it'll clean it up. All the
Right.
building
You're
was
right.
done earlier.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Yep, you're right. Just the package installer. Verify. Oh, and then there's user verifier already. Wow, that's nice. To do a bunch of validation. Yep. Anyway, so this now is just code. Can repair users. Test demonstrates failure. Anyway, yep, there we go. So that's the way the infrastructure tests work. Any other?
By the way, if you try to
questions?
run them in VS, they'll block it if you don't have that environment variable and you're not elevated.
Thank God.
So you,
Yes.
if you set it up correctly, you can run the tests in Visual Studio.
Yeah.
But now I'm really curious because this seems like it would not take a lot to. Oh, Rob, you said you had problems with Sandbox, right?
Yeah. Well, Burn had problems with Sandbox.
Okay. I've been using Sandbox to test some bundle stuff.
Oh, well, that's good. So
Yeah.
maybe it was just me. I did not look at it. It was not priority when I hit the problem, and I haven't gone back to look at it at all.
Right. I'm just because it wouldn't take much. I think you're right. This could very well be a simple batch file and a WSB file to.
Yeah. Sandbox would be perfect for this if it
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah.
I just.
I mean, you're not going to get version coverage, but that's
Cool.
we don't get that today anyway.
Yeah. If you're testing, Sandbox could be it's a lightweight VM. It's like, yeah, there
It's
you
a
go.
lightweight VM and lightweight. It's fast
Yeah.
and really, really convenient. Thank you for showing it to me because it's worth losing VirtualBox.
Ah, right. Yeah, you had to switch to VirtualBox because it required hypervisor, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and the interesting thing is you could create a I don't have time to do this. If someone wanted to do something fun and just kind of mess with it, if nobody else does it, maybe I'll do this on my stream, like in 4, 5, 6 weeks. So there's plenty of time for someone else to do it. But you probably could get to a place where these things, copy this directory. You probably could point a WSD to that folder. A Windows sandbox
WSD.
definition. A Windows sandbox definition say mount this directory and run this test command, and it could like boot and run all the tests in one Windows sandbox and be done.
You have to install the .NET SDK, but
I
otherwise,
think it will be in the sandbox already if you have it installed.
no,
Oh, okay.
no. You don't have. There's nothing that you have installed is running inside Sandbox.
All right. So there, it's all
A
those.
little bit of setup.
All those steps, then you could just like double click in it, and then the Windows Sandbox will start up, run this batch file, have to install .NET Core SDK, and then run that set of tests. It could be interesting. It's definitely an interesting thing to do if someone wanted to do it.
It's tempting because we're not that far off.
Yeah.
We're not that far off.
No, it's assuming it works as Sandbox. I wonder what happens to users you create in Sandbox. Like, I don't know, whatever. I'm curious, but not enough to do the work right now.
Sandbox is limited. There are definitely things that would be really difficult to test inside Sandbox.
Right. But the step from Sandbox to a normal VM is not that far. You're like on your way to
Right.
cool, now just make it work in a VM.
It's just the Sandbox is nice and double clickable, so it's a really addicting little experience there.
It is. All right. Ron says he thinks we nailed it. So hopefully that means we got it right, or that we at least have answered all the questions. Let's see. So, like I said, June 9th is the next meeting. We will do triage again. There are things like that. I mentioned offhand, but there's a new V3 build with the Visual Studio 2022 detection stuff in it. I did get that up, so that's up in the dev builds. That's all I can think of right now. Yeah, that's all I have right now. All right. So 2 weeks. We'll be back 9:30, same time, same place. We'll do this triage thing. We'll talk about anything else that you guys want to talk about, like this, and then we will adjourn then. But for now, we're adjourning now. God, that was confusing. I almost saw my way out of that.
That took some turns.
Oh man, I thought I had it. All right. I thought I nailed it. On that note, I'll be here next week doing my stream on Wednesday. You guys are welcome to join me then. We'll be back in 2 weeks to see if there's more stuff to talk about in the WiX Toolset project and triage and such like that. Until then, you guys take it easy. Bye.
Bye.
I almost had like a turn of phrase there. It just didn't happen.
I saw where you were going, but
I couldn't nail it. I feel like I did
not
the
stick the
triple flip and things like that, and I just did not stick the landing. Ugh. I had it. It's like I did the great run up. I pushed off the pommel horse or the bar or whatever the heck the thing is called, and took 3 or 4 or 5 steps. I don't think I landed on my face, but that was good enough.
it was a close thing there.
All right. Off to the next things. I need to get some breakfast. I actually missed breakfast, so I am starving. I'm going to go do that. I'll talk to all you guys later. Bye.